Satoru Iwata finally started accepting the possibility of third parties handling Nintendo franchises, and to be honest, it's been long overdue. Sure, there have been some in the past, and ones in the near future, like Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, Hyrule Warriors, and Super Smash Bros. Being developed by an all-star Bandai Namco cast. But it's time to think about other possibilities. Third parties often complain that it's always Nintendo games that sell better on their systems, so why not let them put their money where their mouth is? So many franchises have been sitting dormant, just counting the days when developers would give them another shot, and if Nintendo is too busy focusing on Mario this or that, then it's time to let your partners, new and old, have a shot with some of our most beloved fan-favorite series. I can personally bet you won't agree with me on everything, or even two of them, but that's fine, as I'd like to see your own ideas on what could work. Alright, let's start it off! 10th place. It's probably best to start off with a franchise that not too many people are familiar with, and an idea that may never be thought of again. The custom Robo series never really got a strong welcome in the States, and after the DS game came out, it was safe to assume the Robos were left to rot in a scrap pile. To be fair, it's hard to imagine what studio could, or even want to make this, but just the fact that there is a first-person mode makes me think that if it had to become that, then you might as well let Activision, one of Nintendo's few third parties supporting the Wii U, handle it. Quite honestly, there's not a whole lot of merit to this idea, but that doesn't mean a custom Robo FPS with a possible online battle mode wouldn't be such a bad idea. I wonder what kind of kill streaks I could get in this game. The way I see it, it's either this, or see another Call of Duty port fail on the Wii U. Your call. Back in the days when Mega Man would get a new look instead of a cancelled game, Capcom used to make Zelda games for Nintendo handhelds. Those days are long gone, but the Zelda titles they made were created with respect to the series and didn't do too much to stray from the winning formula. However, there is another IP Nintendo has that felt like the old school Zelda games, and if Capcom still has enough people on board, and a watchful eye from Nintendo, they could bring back a long-forgotten series. Star Tropics could easily be revived as a 3DS game as nothing more than a way to test the waters. The game borrows quite a number of things from games featured in the Hyrule Kingdom, but there is room for new ideas. Maybe using the Phoenix Wright team to have you investigate the areas via point-and-click style, or using the 3D for a more advanced platforming puzzle element. Even if it was just a downloadable only title, it would still be enough to please the fans. Kirby has been given the much-needed resurgence in the past couple of years. Epic Yarn, Return to Dreamland, Mass Attack, and Triple Deluxe. My concern, however, is that Triple D looks a bit too similar to Return to Dreamland in both style and gameplay, which is why I would like to see how Kirby could be treated by a third-party company to give him a fresh look and possible new gameplay style. The company I could see doing it is Ubisoft. I'm actually quite curious as to how Kirby would look if it was done by the guys and artists behind the Rayman Origins and Legends games. Seeing that they already have a hold on how to make good 2D platformers with co-op multiplayer should make the fans feel at ease knowing that it would be in the hands of experienced developers of the same genre. Ubisoft, you were disappointed in how sales were for the Legends and tried pointing it to nearly every other console, right? Well, would you like to see what doing a Nintendo franchise would earn you? Okay, I'm gonna be a little honest, these first 3 entries may not be the best ideas out there, but that's why they're at the bottom. From here on out, things will start making a lot of sense. Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, Mario Baseball, Mario Soccer, Mario Hoops, and a Mario Sports collection. Mario is no stranger to the athletic competition, but we haven't really seen Mario pick up any of his old pastimes, with the exception of Mario Tennis last year on the 3DS. And I think Golf on the 3DS this year, if I'm not mistaken. But what about the Wii U? It's time for Mario and the Mushroom Kingdom to get active again. And of course, when you think of sports and video games, the letters EA usually come to mind. Peter Moore of EA has said that Nintendo is not dead to them, and that allegedly they have some games in development. Well, Mr. Moore, don't you think it would be a good idea to try and get the rights to do the IPs for the Mario sports games? If EA wants to build an install base on Nintendo systems, then why not start with these? You could even make a Mario football game for all I care. Just replace realism with power-ups, and you should be fine. If Hudson ran with the Mario Party license for about 8 years, I think you can do better with these. Just do me a little favor, okay? Instead of making a new Mario football game every year, just do another sport. You could even make that Mario paintball game I suggested a couple years back. And if you take the games off of Camelot's hands, maybe they could focus on making a new Golden Sun game for the 3DS. You know, just something to think about. 6th place. If it worked before, why not do it again? I'm not exactly saying that they should do a remake or even a sequel to Mario RPG, but that wouldn't be so bad either. The creators have already said that they didn't want to do another one, but developers have been known to change their mind from time to time. Mario doesn't have an RPG for the Wii U just yet, so this collaboration only makes more sense. They could even try their hands at a new Paper Mario or Mario & Luigi RPG, thus letting Intelligent Systems try and do another Advance or Battalion Wars game. Come to think of it, those kind of games would be great for the gamepad. Wink, wink. One of the biggest demands going around right now is a new 2D Metroid game. Nintendo had Retro handle the Prime series, but noticed they weren't selling too well in Japan, and that's probably why they had Team Ninja work on Other M. Well, since Nintendo hasn't touched it in a while, it seems like a good idea to try making a 2D Metroid on the 3DS by Konami. Why does that seem like a good idea? Does the term Metroidvania mean anything to you? Essentially, all you would have to do is exchange a vampire hunter with a whip to a bounty hunter with a power suit, the monsters to alien creatures, and have it in the similar style of the Castlevania games that were on the DS, like Portrait of Ruin, and you'll have yourself in familiar yet fresh territory the fans have been waiting for. I assume. Fourth place. Not exactly the most shocking or original idea, but definitely one of the more sound ones. Having Sega's Amusement Vision team handle F-Zero GX was a stroke of brilliance to say the least. It was fast, tough, and offered more than any other F-Zero before in the forms of story mode and custom racers. Sure, Amusement Vision isn't around anymore, but I'm sure most of them are still there when it receded back into Sega when it merged with Sammy. There's no question that many fans would drool over the idea of an HD F-Zero that could be played online, and yes, the Wii U's online service is superior to what the Wii had to offer. Sadly, Miyamoto wants to keep F-Zero close to Nintendo and doesn't want to make another one unless it can evolve. Well, forgive me for saying this, but F-Zero isn't the type of game that needs to evolve. It just needs a new coat of paint, a tune-up, and another lap. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Sin and Punishment has only been developed by Treasure, but the series is actually owned by Nintendo. It's a gem of a series that only a few have gotten to cherish. Seeing what these guys could do in HD with either the options to use the gamepad or Wii Remote to aim is important to how accessible the game can be played. Let's not forget that this is one of those few games that had a leaderboard system that wasn't hacked on the Wii, but only because so few really played it. Nintendo needs more games like this that says we can have difficult and challenging games that don't hold your hand. Nintendo and the Wii U really need to build up its library of games for all consumers, and if somehow they do make another one, they need to market it better. The only thing I saw to hype up the last one was a teaser trailer and a demo at a GameStop that had busted controls. If that was all the effort they put into advertising Star's successor, then it's no wonder why it bombed in sales and only sold copies by word of mouth. It kinda feels like Platinum Games could become one of Nintendo's newest best friends, what with the wonderful 101 and the big end funding Bayonetta 2, and then there was what Hideki Kamiya said years ago about how he wished Nintendo would show up to his office, put a gun to his head and say, "Make the next Star Fox game." Since then, he has been the only person in the entire industry who has shown any interest in making a new Star Fox game, leading many gaming sites to pester the poor guy about what he would do with the next installment on every single detail, including a launch date for a game that's not even in development, which is why he lost all interest in making the game. Still, he is basically the only hope Star Fox fans have at seeing a new installment. With the over-the-top zany action the wonderful 101 gave players, having them develop a new Star Fox game is smart thinking. But sadly, it's also wishful thinking until Hideki Kamiya renews his passion for it. I understand his point of view all too clearly, but a hero never says no!
They can do it, 'cause a hero never says no! Alright, first place!
Yes, Metroid already had a place on the list, but this isn't the same. The first one you saw was for a 2D Metroid game. This is for something along the lines for another Metroid Prime. But the company I would pick to make the game is by far the most ridiculous suggestion, and probably the most impossible. But there's no doubt in my mind that it would lead to great things! I'm quite sure the most numerous response is, "Am I out of my bleeping mind?" But just hear me out. It's true that Valve and Nintendo have never worked together, but that doesn't mean that they were on bad terms. Back in 2011, Valve said that they actually liked the Wii U, and so far I haven't seen them go back on their word. though I am a bit confused about their Steam box and if that's just a side project or if they are going to go full first party on their own terms, which could kill this idea dead in its tracks right now. But going back to the main topic, Nintendo could use new partners. That's pretty much a given, and Valve has put a lot of thought and effort into their games. They could have the Portal team come up with puzzles and the Half-Life programmers design the game. Maybe even the Team Fortress division could handle an online versus mode. Well, that might be asking for a bit too much and a suggestion that's too far-fetched to begin with. Yes, this entry will probably never happen, but if it did, it would do a lot of good for Metroid fans and Nintendo. And they could both really use it right now. And that does it for this list, and while I'm sure there are people out there who thought this was a waste of time, it was really meant to get some ideas flowing. So if you have any similar ideas of your own, or even a list, I'd like to hear what 10 Nintendo games you'd like to see done by third-party companies. This collaboration is pretty much the same as hearing Half-Life 3 announced in the next few days when this video was uploaded. It won't happen, but it would make the fans rejoice. Well, that was a crazy, insane, but fun list to do, and if you'd like to see some videos that don't border on wishful thinking, then here you go. There's the redo review I did for the Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, the review I made for Pikmin 3, my 10 favorite winterish levels in video games, and there's no video plug this time. So I'll just put in the 5 great and terrible system launches I did with Game Room Vids. And now it's time to get back to work on some more videos, such as possibly another Smash Chat video. And with all that said, I'll see you guys later.